Ghost out there, acting a little territorial. I guess some animals ain't fit to be trained.
In the film Nope, characters are asked to face uncertainties in life, to stare into the future and engage with what may come. But each person has their own way of taking on this battle, and their personal approach towards the abyss tends to exemplify the type of person they are. Will they be one who cowers and sticks with the path of self-preservation, looking to safeguard themselves from the dangers of the world? Or will they be more like OJ, the film's hero, one who acts with courage by facing down potential pain and suffering, by attempting to be content with the variability of life? At the start of the film, Haywood is working as a ranch hand in support of his father's business. He is out in the beyond, on the fringes of society, cut off from the mainstream. As he speaks with his father, we see the dichotomy between them. As Haywood Sr. is primarily focused on business and putting on a show, he wants to have a future of no more problems. He is under the illusion that more money and success will relinquish them from the problems of life. OJ, on the other hand, seems more of a realist, someone who isn't caught in the life of appearances and show. He has an inkling that his problems will never go away, and that hardships are often lurking on the horizon. These notions are all soon confirmed as metal objects fall from the sky, and his father is critically wounded. In an instant, OJ has been placed in a state of uncertainty and chaos. There is no longer a map laid out for how he should live. Alone on the ranch, he is literally and figuratively in the great wide open. OJ is soon seen on a movie set, and we come to further understand how he places little value on the world of safety and security that his father was so concerned about. He barely tries to pander to the egos of the movie set workers and actors, being more focused on the well-being of his horses. Even though the business is failing, he finds more importance in sticking to his values rather than catering towards personalities. His sister Emerald, meanwhile, is taking after their father and his celebrity-driven ways. She is all about the show, wanting others to perceive her a certain way by way of flashy presentation to promote her business. Emerald is caught up in career and personality, another individual who is trying to build up their own ego while being mostly unconcerned about the needs of other beings. We quickly see why OJ and his sister butt heads and have grown distant from each other, as they have contrasting philosophies. OJ soon goes to meet Jupe at his amusement park, and we are introduced to the anti-hero, someone who feigns courage. We see how much of Juke's time revolves around maintaining the little money and fame he has acquired. He is desperately holding on to these things like they are life rafts. They seem to protect him in some way, making him feel secure in his little ego, while also insulating him from the harsh surrounding world. It's a path of self-preservation, which equates to greed and selfishness, as he is focused on perpetuating his legacy. He is unwilling to let go of the image he has built, as it provides an influx of money and smatterings of attention. Jupe speaks about the infamous Gordy incident, but we quickly notice how his version of the massacre is highly distorted and skewed. It is clear that he primarily sees the events through rose-colored glasses, as he hauntingly speaks of the events with fondness. Instead of revisiting the actual terror of that day, he perceives reality by way of the comedically reenacted version of SNL. The skit show has assisted him in constructing a false reality, one which protects him from the pain of the past. It allows him to distance himself from the scared little boy who was nearly killed that day, but that also means that he is preventing himself from being courageous in the current day. By shielding his eyes from the truth of himself and the world, he is hindering any attempts to more effectively deal with present circumstances. The image he holds of the past is keeping him from facing the future and the dangers that may await. OJ is soon introduced to the UFO, an object which is unexplainable and incomprehensible. It transcends the bounds of what he currently knows, a perfect symbol for the unknown and uncertainties that await. OJ is dumbfounded by the object and unsure of how to approach it. Emerald, on the other hand, immediately jumps at attempts for exploitation and gaining fame from the object. Although she can't begin to grasp its nature, she is looking for ways to take advantage of it through public exposure. Her actions replicate the way humans often react to that which they don't understand, by finding ways to manipulate it and put it under their domain. We often believe that we can do something to harness the unknown, but this is a form of hubris that normally leads to negative consequences. OJ soon engages in a conversation with Angel, and it is clear that the electronic salesman is also worried about their precarious visitors. He speaks about conspiracy theories, narratives which attempt to categorize the uncategorizable through creation of rational explanations. OJ is intrigued by these ideas, but he resists the urge to follow similar conclusions. Angel is another character who is doing his best to deal with the fear that comes from what he does not know. He creates explanations of what the thing may be, allowing himself to quell underlying anxiety and terror. It's the way that we often try to label things and put them in neat and tidy boxes so as to cope with the distressing emotions which tap at our nerve centers. In a flashback scene, we are finally shown the Gordy incident and provided a more striking example of how Jupe has long been aiming at self-preservation. As a child, Jupe was part of a scripted show with canned laughter and bad acting. Everything was controlled and predictable, and there was no chance of things going off course. But a balloon accidentally pops on the roof, and the trained animal turns undomesticated by attacking the audience and actors. Jupe is soon exposed to death and gore, the grim truth of what actually happened on set that day. It's an extreme trauma that he has been trying to forget and whitewash for his entire life. The fictional lens which he uses to view these events gives the impression that it all had no impact on him. But the fact is that he was at first-hand witness to uncontrolled rage, a life event which had no precedent and no chance at prediction. He was a boy who was frozen from the terror of the unknown and who has since been trying to act as if he is brave by way of scripted ranch stunts. Returning to the present day, we see how Jupe continues to be controlled by the past and his need to preserve his image. His performance is centered on showing himself to be a fearless individual, an excellent cover for his lack of real daring and risk-taking. He and his wife act as if they are putting on some great event, while the only attendees are people who have nothing better to do than get lost in tourist traps. Jupe's show seems to be ensnaring people in the idea of what life is supposed to be like, similar to the fantasy that is created through action westerns. Jupe pretends to have courage, selling alien gifts and speaking about the UFO as if he is immune to its destruction. He thinks he is in control, but he is in fact at the whim of the swirling cosmos. When the UFO approaches, Jupe looks to the sky with horror, as he and the audience are frozen by the thing they thought they could manipulate. They react to the unknown object with fear, a response that will always cause one to lose their center and be thrown off course. After being swallowed, items of monetary value eventually fall from the sky as the only remains of the audience. It signifies how material possessions which create comfort and security were the things that directed these people's lives, as they have neglected values which could have better assisted in facing the demons of the world. Following the horrific events of the UFO attack, Emerald and Angel proceed to play VR as a way to further immerse themselves in unreality. Meanwhile, OJ sits by himself, contemplating the nature of what has happened, and he says, "I don't think it eats you if you look at it." As opposed to finding ways to escape their predicament, he is instead considering how to face down the unknown. While neither Angel nor Emerald want to return to the ranch, OJ is committed to go back and handle his ongoing responsibilities. Despite the unfortunate events which have taken place, first with his father and now with the aliens, he isn't going to allow the misfortune and uncertainty to distract himself. He knows that running away from the fear of what is next will never make the fear go away. He may not know where things are headed, but he does know that going the opposite direction is not in the cards. The group soon devises a plan of how to bring the UFO out and attract it to them. Instead of waiting for it to attack again, as if they are hiding from the boogeyman, they are instead inviting the inevitable to approach. And as they begin devising the plan, they gain the confidence required to complete the job. They realize that waiting and running will only intensify their negative emotions, while finding a way to confront the possibilities is what provides energy and life, is the thing that propels them forward. In time, their confidence builds and provides realizations of how they can help others by confronting the UFO. The focus is no longer about selfish gains and helping themselves. It's about facing what is out there so as to help mankind. As their plans are devised, we're steadily seeing how OJ is becoming the hero by confronting all that he does not know. He is spearheading the attempts to prepare for what is next by giving up on his personal comfort in exchange for acts of bravery. Even when the nosy TMZ reporter crashes, OJ tries to save him even though it risks his own life. The reporter is another person caught in self-absorbed appearances, needing to get the shot, thinking that celebrity and fame will save him from the threats lurking in the universe. But the man is eventually sucked up, just another person who is overwhelmed by dangers that await. After a long battle ensues, it seems that the Haywood family is doomed, as Emerald is placed in a perilous situation. But OJ continues his acts of self-sacrifice and courage by facing the UFO so as to provide a distraction for his sister's escape. Although he has figuratively been staring into the unknown for the entire film, he now literally stares at the UFO without wavering. He has ceased to worry about his own welfare and is instead only focused on helping his sister survive. All others in the film have looked into the abyss with fear and trepidation, with utmost concern for themselves and the life they have built around themselves, with the need to protect what they possess. OJ, though, is willing to sacrifice it all, willing to risk his entire person, and that is exactly the thing which provides the courage to truly face the great beyond. It's as if the need for self-preservation is what hinders each person from facing the unknown with an upright stature. Giving up preservation of the self is what allows one to part from the show and appearance which serve the ego. In exchange, they receive the supreme confidence which is provided by a power greater than oneself. The UFO is eventually defeated due to OJ's ability to think in the moment and respond spontaneously. The narration from Jupiter's Ranch speaks about how the journey is over and how everyone can go home safely. OJ emerges from the smoke, shown on top of the horse, embodying the spirit of the hero that we are all looking for. The hero no longer needs to worry because he is invested with the courage that is needed to face any given situation. He is the one who could face what others could not, giving up his potential needs and safety, and who in the process ends up saving us all from the dangers lying in the great beyond. This has been The Psychology of Nope. Please watch my other videos on other TV and film characters if you enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching.